everyone, it's Marina. I'm here to do a share of, I'm going to dye some paper with some walnut ink crystals. I've never used them before, so this will be my first time using them. And it's archival and acid-free walnut ink crystals. It's a 2-ounce jar and or container, and I got them on, where did I get them? I got them on Amazon. So I'm going to do that, and you guys can watch and see how it goes. I've set the oven for 350. I know some people do theirs lower. I'm sure some people do theirs higher. Any higher than that, the paper for me starts to get really brittle. So I'll just show you how I dye my paper. Usually I use my coffee, hold on, I'll show you. So usually I use this, which kind of reminds me of the walnut ink crystals because it's the instant coffee. And why I use the instant coffee is because you can dilute it some more if you want to. Of course you can do that with regular coffee, but you can add more. You know, you can make it darker without doing a whole process of it, and it just dissolves in cold or hot water. And I got decaf because I don't see a need for my paper to be caffeinated. So, I mean, tea is fine. I'll use tea sometimes. I don't use it a lot because I actually drink it. So, this is what the walnut ink crystals look like. I'm guessing when I use this and they get in the water, if it touches my fingers, I have a feeling my fingers are probably going to change color as well. So while I'm doing this one, I'm also going to use, in this video, I've heard about using balsamic vinegar. Sorry, balsamic. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm having issues with this word. So I'm going to use this vinegar, and I've already got a little pan over there with some vinegar in it. So it does smell, you guys. It'll smell. It's not. I don't know. The smell doesn't really bother me, but it does smell like vinegar. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay. So these ink crystals say to dissolve 1 level teaspoon in a half a cup of hot water to make approximately 2.5% solution. Dilute as needed for higher shades. So I've got a cup of water here. It's just a regular cup. And I don't have a precise measuring spoon, but I'm just going to use this right here. Start with that, and go ahead and put half of this in here. Wow, this is really thick. This feels very different from the coffee. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty dark compared to the coffee as well. So this is with a little bit over half a cup, so I still have almost a half a cup left. And I think I'm going to mix this up some more, and then I'll use, I was going to use a wooden spoon, but I thought that might not be a good idea. You guys can use whatever you want to mix if you guys have something, you know, that you don't mind the color changing. I do expect these to make an imprint when I put them in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven for a little bit, and while I'm doing that, I will start some papers with the balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegar! Ha! I got it. Okay, so for the balsamic vinegar, I'm going to use some wrinkled paper, some crumbled up paper. I crumbled it twice. Okay, so I'm at my craft space, and I'm going to go ahead and try and use a heat tool on these. I really don't know if I like this. It's, I didn't hold it there long enough for that to happen. So, this was not good. It looks really neat, but maybe I should try it on parchment paper because I've heard it works better on parchment paper. This is just using vinegar on regular paper. Maybe I made it too heavy. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe the paper is actually too heavy for it. Yeah, it just kind of breaks apart. And I'll try letting it air dry and see how that goes. Because this is disappointing. But at least I learned a little bit about it. So I'm going to go back to the walnut ink and see what we can do with those. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm adding this part of the video in because I had originally showed you guys when I did this, I thought I did anyway, I had paused my video and I thought, okay, so because I was pausing it because it was taking quite a while, so I thought I got all of it in, but I didn't. And I missed a piece, and I think you guys will know where I missed it. So I guess that's lucky that I realized this when I was editing, because this paper changed. So when I took it out, you guys can see where it looked brittle, right? It looked brittle and it broke off. And you could tell it broke off. And I was very disappointed because it looked so neat. And this is still wet. Like, it's not like soaking wet, it's like damp. And over here is dry, and it feels really, really weird, and it's kind of like leathery. But I wanted to show you guys that this paper, I threw it away, is what happened. And then I saw that it wasn't even in the video, so I was like, oh no. So I was going to take it out and take pictures, and as soon as I picked it up, the whole texture has changed. Everything is different about this paper. It's if I would have did this before, this paper would have cracked and fallen apart. I even have little bits of it over here. See, this is parts that just broke apart and now they rip. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't add any water. I threw it away is all that I did. And I don't know what happened while they were in the garbage. They look so neat. I was so upset because they came out so interesting. You guys, this paper reeks, okay? Do not stick it in your oven. It smells so bad. Usually I look at stuff, before I do it, and this is the balsamic vinegar that I used on these, okay? Alright. Yeah, it smells. And I think it's because it's not all the way dry. But, it feels really like, no, I can smell it. I think it's just because I had it in the oven and you know, you can smell the vinegar when you put it down, and it didn't bother me when I put it down in the dish. And then I smelled it while it was cooking, and it smelled so bad it stung my eyes. I was like, oh no! Oh, it was so bad. This is the walnut ink paper here. I don't know if you guys got a good view of it before, and this was at the bottom, so it had gotten stuck and it ripped. I would say, depending on what you use, the temperatures vary of what you should use in your oven. So these papers came out really neat. So this is the balsamic vinegar over here. This is the walnut ink. And this is, I used the vinegar and let this air dry, so it looks really different. And this one does not smell. It does not smell bad at all. So these are the ones also that I let air dry, and they're not dry yet, guys. It's been here for a couple of hours. And again, and this is what happened in the video that you guys saw me drying it with the heat tool. And it broke. You guys saw it break apart, and now it's fine. And I didn't put this one in the trash. I put this one over there with the air drying for the other ones. It's very interesting. I don't know if these are going to stay damp, like my walnut inks, not my walnut inks, my walnut ink sprays, or if it's going to dry. I think it's going to dry. I think it's just going to need quite a while to dry. So I'm going to let these dry again overnight. And I guess I'm just going to stick these over there with them, because if they dry, and they don't stink, I'm going to try to use them for something, because they look so cool. I am so happy about this. I'm actually kind of happy I messed up my video now. Very happy with how things turned out. I mean, just that something changed. You know, you leave it alone for a while, and you come back, and I didn't add any water or anything, and it just changed all on its own. The consistency, the texture, how it feels. Awesome. I wanted to show you how these Sari silk dyeing turned out. These are not fully dry yet, but I just wanted to show them to you. They basically came out the same color. I think this one might dry a little bit lighter. It is, this one is the walnut ink, okay? So this one's walnut ink. And you guys have seen me dye the Sari silk and walnut ink before. So this is the walnut ink spray by Sukiniko, and this is how it turned out, and it's still really moist. I don't know why it's like that. I keep waiting for it to like mold or something, but it doesn't. It just feels a little damp. No, it's different, and it looks very different compared to the other Sari silks, which is strange how, you know, certain things make it have a different texture. And I feel like some of these are going to have a different texture when they dry. And this is the seam binding I did with the walnut ink. So I have, and if you go back in my videos, you'll find one where I sprayed the seam binding with walnut inks. It's a tutorial that I did using the walnut inks. And that's how the seam binding did, how it looks when it dried, and I've used quite a bit of it actually. So this is the actual walnut color, and this is the walnut color too. The Java turned out completely black. I'll show that to you too. So this is the Java, which really usually comes out a dark brown. This one came out near black, which is totally cool because I don't actually have a black one. So this is the terracotta. And like I said, they're all still kind of moist, but when I take them off the roll, they seem to dry. Like if I tie them to something and leave it alone for a while, they dry. Like this part right here is dry. As you can tell, it's a little bit lighter than the rest of it. You can tell there's more consistency to this ink. The ink sprays, it's so thick, like it's very thick and just soaks. It's for antiquing, so you know it really does get the job done. The walnut inks, as far as antiquing goes, does make things look old. The color bled out on this one, as you guys can see. Not mold. There is no molding happening in here. So you don't, I mean, it's been there. I've done it I did it a few weeks ago actually, and you know, everything's fine. So I haven't had any reactions with that yet. That's awesome. I'm actually very impressed with this stuff. So if you're looking to antique stuff, use some walnut ink sprays by Sukunico. These ones are, this is the walnut ink. So this one's going to be, I really dialed it down with the water because I put lots of water into it. So I think this one is going to dry light. And this is the balsamic vinegar, which you can see is, they're both still wet, but I wouldn't suggest smelling either of them. I have to smell everything. That's just how I am. I'm weird. This one doesn't stink. These ones, the walnut inks, don't stink. They smell. They have a smell when you use them, but they don't stink once they're down and they dry, or they're partially damp, I guess is what you can say. I don't want to see what's going to happen with the Sari Silks if I use ink on it, or sorry, not ink, the heat tool. So that's what I've learned. That's what I have for you guys today. I hope some of this was useful for you too. I'm sure there's better ways to use the balsamic vinegar. Maybe you can water it down. I didn't think about it when I was doing it. I just was kind of disappointed. But while I learned stuff. Okay, so I made this one a I made this one a shade lighter, and I really like these. I made some tags, some bigger tags. They look pretty nice. Oh, and the vinegar has a 6% acid, so that probably helps to make it fall apart. I don't know. But these are very, very pretty. I hope this helped you guys learn a little bit. If you have any suggestions for me as far as how I should use the vinegar and how it works with other paper, I'd be very grateful for any tips and advice. Also, if you have any tips and advice on the walnut ink, I am totally open to hearing that as well. Share your guys' experience with me. Did you like how your paper turned out? Did you use a darker shade, a lighter shade? Have you ever tried vinegar before? If so, did yours fall apart like mine did? It just doesn't react well to heat. So, hopefully the air dried one turns out the way I'd like it to. It looks very pretty. The vinegar ones look very, very pretty. It just, the paper isn't holding it well. So, alright. I will see you guys next time. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. And if I have the answers for you, I'll do my best to answer. Alright. I'll talk to you later. Bye.